Ches. So what do we just say? The Rebbe excavated a deeper hole in the positive. He dug in a different paradigm, which is what? Not only focusing on the individual, the wise person's desire for spiritual, for benevolence in the physical world because it comes from the king, but it's also spiritual. And even in the spiritual world, we're not even speaking about hashpa, we're speaking about anything that you could even remotely say is close to God. We're speaking about the malachim, we're speaking about spheros, that those things that perhaps the profound thinker or the spiritual seeker will be able to say, I'm able to desire the spheros, the higher olamas. But at the end of the day, this is not tefillah la'ani. Tefillah la'avni is lifnei Hashem. The Yishleimar, based on this, we can say, and this is the pikchus, this is the wisdom of the smart person in the Medrash, that he says, Adon Nasiv Malka, I will choose the king, in understanding not only a transition or a separation between Klipa and Kedusha, but even in Kedusha itself, there can be a luring and an attraction to seeing the holiness of godliness, but not God himself. Godliness, but not God himself. The spirituality, the luring of spirituality. By the way, we know people like this. Yeah, that they can get stuck in the spiritual world and forget that there's really an etzem, a location, a true identity, a true core, that spirituality is just a projection from it. We can say, this is personified by the love that David HaMelech says, that who is for me in the heavens, and with you I do not desire on this earth. Ukelashin Admar Azakin, like the Alter Rebbe said, what regarding this mili b'shamayim, who is for me in the heavens, and with you I don't desire to be in the earth. Ich will za gar nicht. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden. Ich will nicht dein Olam Haba. Ich will mehr als dich allein. I don't want anything. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your Olam Haba. I want only you alone.
I want nothing but you.
I want nothing but you. Beautiful. Thank you. Now I will say this becomes more practical when a person enters into a spiritual journey, maybe from a level of a secular society to a more spiritual society, but then a person can become addicted or overwhelmed to their own spirituality, to their own journey, to their own desire to keep going more and more, and they become a little bit of on their high horse, a holier than thou attitude. And this is called the Giluyim of Gan Eden, that everything becomes about my Judaism, and is it for me? So you're serving Hashem, and you're serving Hashem be'ahava. But at the end of the day, what are you seeing? You're seeing Giluyim. You're seeing the projection, the outward extension of godliness. Thank you. Beautiful. And the Alter Rebbe had a comprehension of this. A true comprehension in which the mind becomes one with the thought. Nevertheless, think about who we're talking about. We're talking about the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe knew all of the various avenues and all of the various pathways of the spiritual world. And he knew it intimately. The Rebbe says, that the mind becomes one with what you're thinking about. You literally vividly see it. Thank you so much. And nevertheless, he is privy to seeing all of the treasures. He's privy to seeing all of the food. He's privy to seeing all of the art, all of the music, all of the instruments. The Alter Rebbe knew all of this. And nevertheless, his whole desire is in the essence, dich alein, you alone. How did you say? What did you say? Nothing but you. You alone, nothing but you.
That's the amazing thing, is that the Alter Rebbe had all these experiences, he still just felt like something was missing.
There's a Hayon that says that the Alter Rebbe could not write the word Atzilus. He could only write the word Aleph Tzadik Yud and then an apostrophe, because when he wrote it, he was there. Okay, So he couldn't even in the Olam Asiyah write the word Atzilus, because at the end of the day he was experiencing it. And the moment that he was writing it, he was experiencing it. When you're in Atzilus, how can you write anything? So he said Atzi. That's it. That's all you can do. Because what's the whole word? That's it. I'm there. I'm in the world of unification. Atzilus is the world of emanation in English, right? The world, the united world, the world of intimacy. There's no body and soul. The spheres of Erdus and Kalim are so one, are so united. We give this mashal all the time. It's like ice cups and water poured in ice cups. The cups themselves are made out of H2O, right? The Ur and the Kli are one. It's not like there's a cup and there's hashpa, there's liquid in the cup. No, the cup itself is the same material, the same substance as the hashpa. That's Atzilus. So he knew all these things. And nevertheless, I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your Ilam Haba. I want you alone. If we can say, the primary wisdom, the primary intuition and profound depth of this person, in that he doesn't want the duchsin, he doesn't want the dukes. Now we're saying, what are the dukes? Before we were saying the dukes, the governors, the ministers, all of that is the klip of this world. Right? The sun, moon, and stars. That's how we were relating to it in the beginning of the Maamar. Now we're saying, no, this is all holiness. This is all kedusha. We're talking about the highest stratas of Seder Ishtalshalos. We're speaking about even higher than Ishtalshalos. We're talking about the Orein Sof. We're talking about Ak. We're talking about Keser. Who is the Hagam Shas, even the spheres, even the divine powers of communication. Miloshin spheres ubehiris, which means what? Spheres, which literally means sphere or faculty, yeah, from the word sapir, to illuminate. They're that which causes God to shine. They do not block, they do not conceal the infinite light of God. Rather, they are appropriate and chosen conduits to reveal the godly light in this world. They are the mechanism to reveal God's desire and will in this world, and the creation of this world. That it's obvious that the hashpa, the energy that is transmitted through the spheres, but what aspect of the spheres? Primarily the kelim, the vessels. Nida begilu, it's obvious and apparent. Shashpa, he like rak me'asfiras atzmam chas v'shalom, is not coming from the sphere themselves. Obviously, you'll tell me that this cup will never produce water. Rather, the cup is only a conduit to transmit the water. So don't give credence to the cup. But don't even give credence to the water. Because the water at the end of the day is coming from a source, a well, a spring. Right? We speak about the light all the time. The light in this room, at the end of the day, it's just the bulb. The bulb is only the vessel. And really the light that is even entering the bulb is really from a generator, right? A primary luminary that is causing the light to even occur. So don't get distracted, not by the vessel, not by the light in the vessel. Rather, they are only conduits to reveal that godly energy. It's the Or Ein Sof, it's the infinite light itself, which is allowing them to then be vehicles, be conduits to reveal that light. And even more, we're not speaking about only the kelim of the spheres, we're talking about the Or. Now we're taking a little bit Likutei Torah, yeah? We're not only speaking about the vessels, which the vessel, it's clear that there's a discernment between the vessel and the light in it, but the light itself, will you ever mix the light on physical earth? Yes, it comes from the sun itself, but you'll never say, oh, it is the sun. No, it's so minute. How many? 93? How many miles away? Anybody knows?
What?
The sun and earth.
The sun, I don't know. The moon, I know.
So what is he saying here? That a person who knows the spiritual avenues, a person who knows the spiritual avenues could say, okay, I'm not getting overwhelmed by the kelim, which the kelim themselves are like, okay, amazing. That's what's facilitating creation. But I'm also not even getting overwhelmed by the Or, which the Or itself actually has an attachment to the Ma'or. That through these vehicles they are facilitating the light that is higher than their own selves. And he's saying, the Rebbe is elaborating on this line. And even more so, we're talking about even higher than Atzilus, which higher than Atzilus is not an Or and a Kli anymore. Okay? Ha'or misgale kol ma she'efshar lizgalos be'amar. The purpose of the light is to reveal all that it can from the luminary. Mikol makim, nevertheless, with all of this, understanding the higher realms, understanding the pathways and avenues of the highest, deepest spiritual worlds. The Alter Rebbe says, Ana Nasiv Malka. He, about himself, is saying, I'm choosing the king. Ich will garnished. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your Eilam Haba. I don't want your Spheres. I don't want your Oiris. I don't want your Caleb. I want you alone. I want the king alone. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden. Ich will nicht dein Eilam Haba. Der Agam Gan Eden und Eilam Haba hein dein Gan Eden. The Alter Rebbe is medayek. He's specific in his words, in the sense that he says, it's not I don't want Gan Eden. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your Eilam Haba. Because I know that those are still you. But it's only an extension of you. It's only a projection of you. It's still not you. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about an extremely profound level. We're saying it's still sunlight, it's still illumination, but he's saying it's not the Ma'ar, it's still not the luminary. I don't want them because they're not the luminary. Because at the end of the day, even the spiritual things are relationships that are conditional. And why are they conditional? Because at the end of the day, it's not etzem. And the whole desire, the whole yearning for the Alter Rebbe is in the essence itself. Dichalein, only you.
I want you.
Which is what?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, but like.
God. That's it. It's God.
Maybe that's why he couldn't finish writing.
What is God?
That's what he's saying.
So what is it?
What is it? It's to want you.
Maybe it's something that we can't even say what it is, because the moment that you say what, you're categorizing it into something. So you're like, so what is it? How far the sun is from the earth? What? I don't know. I was just giving an example of the spheres.
Google says 92 million miles.
92 million? I was saying 93. Let's see what it is. Let's see what we think we should be yearning for is. The explanation of this medrash, now we're saying much clearer and much more profound, that I want the king, I will choose the king. That you're not at all even choosing even the highest levels of holiness, rather only in the essence of God alone. The Rebbe says, I know, I just did something interesting to your mind. I made you simultaneously learn the Medrash in two opposing ways. On the one hand, you told me the Medrash is speaking about Avodah Zarah and Klippa. So the Pikeach, the wise person in the Medrash, abrogates, he's vitter, he forgoes his temptation for those Klippa things. That's how you told me to learn it. Now, the Alter Rebbe has catapulted us, our minds, into that those things, the entourage of the king, is not Klippa at all. It's actually the highest formations of Kedusha, the highest emanations of Kedusha. So he's saying, how do we align the Pshat, which is Klippa and negativity and the Avodah Zarah, and you're basically saying that Chachma Avatzilus, or Orein Saf, Shalifne Atzimtzum, as long as it's not the Ma'ar, is the same as the sun, moon, and stars. How can you say that? So they're connected to each other. We can understand this based on what is known. This the Rebbe is quoting from Likutei Torah and from the Tzemach Tzedek. This love that David HaMelech professes in Tehillim, he says, who is with me in the heavens? Who is for me in the heavens? And with you I don't desire to be on earth. What is the implication of that? That he doesn't desire any of the revelations of Gan Eden, rather in the essence of the infinite light. What is he actually saying? He's saying that I know that in Gan Eden, my existence as a soul, and this is very abstract for us to think about, but my existence as a soul will still be. And not only will still be, but blossom. It says, Yelchu mechai al chayil tzadikim, which we are all tzadikim once we leave our bodies. Right? Ein lahem menucha, we have no rest. Because in the discernment, in the understanding, in the comprehending of godliness, there's always more and more to go. Whether it's in the formation of Torah, whether it's in the formation of a revelation of God. So in Gan Eden Yishar b'mitziusa, your soul will still be almost like you know yourself. I'll use the word consciousness. You'll still have your own identified consciousness. And you'll have a comprehension and a pleasure in godliness. It says you're basking in the brilliance of the divine presence. What is the Alter Rebbe asking, and what is the Rebbe revealing to us? What David HaMelech is asking is that when you yearn for the revelation of the Atzmus Ein Sof, when your whole entire temptation and craving for godliness is not godliness, it's not holiness, but rather God's essence, the King Himself, what will happen? That you will be nullified from your level, meaning to say your personality, your consciousness will not be. Nevertheless, so where's the pikchus? Where's the wisdom? You're basically saying that you're sorry for the extreme. It's almost like saying he's committing spiritual suicide. That the consciousness of the soul in Gan Eden doesn't want to maintain in its consciousness, but rather just wants to be enveloped and melting away in the infinite light of God. That there's no more understanding anymore. That's basically what he's asking. Why? Because I know that the revelation, even in Gan Eden, however profound it is only a radiance. As it says, Ziv HaShchina, the radiance of the Shchina, which in no way compares to the essence of God's infinite light. And this is the whole Maamar. Can we be strong enough? Can we fabring with ourselves? Can we have the inner work to be able to challenge ourselves to the point and say, every moment in my life, can I choose the Iker and not the Tafel? Can I choose what is truly meaningful for me and not something that is distracting me? This is the challenge of the Maamar. This is the birthday present. Yeah? If we don't get anything other than this, this is it. And this works in every part of my life. Why are you in this job? Yeah? The famous Hayom Yom. Look at Chaf Hei Nisan. Beautiful Hayom Yom. It says even though a person has the incredible ability to bake bread. Has the incredible ability to what does it say? To not to polish diamonds, to cut diamonds. To weave diamonds. I don't know what is it. To cut diamonds, and yet he chooses the necessary job to bake bread. There's a loss in his soul. There's a loss in his soul, not a loss like a morbid thing, but are you fulfilling your purpose in creation? You have the ability to. You are so talented. You are so beautiful. There's such an amazing soul stuck in that body. Why make it more stuck? And we can ask ourselves every single day this question. Not in a morbid, depressing way, but in an extremely uplifting way, an inspired way. What direction am I going? Who am I? And what relationship with God do I want to have? Tafel or Iker? And I'm speaking about even religious Jews. Religious Jews. Yes, I daven. Yes, I learn. Yes, I put on tefillin. Yes, I do mitzvahs. But at the end of the day, what's my kach? I was bringing with somebody. I'm not going to mention if it's male or female. But at the end of the day, it was with my wife, and we were speaking about Lashon Hara, and the question is, was it about ourselves? That there are very frum people that have no relationship with God, and I think that this, excuse my language, pisses off the children of the next generation, because they're like, you're doing something that you've never really ascribed true meaning to. You're just doing it, like you put on your pants, and like you eat, is like you do Judaism. So where is the meaningfulness in Judaism? Where is the practicality for me to actually change my life? And we spoke about this maybe on Shabbos. This was really the yearning and the craving of the 60s, right? That the Jews of that time was being fed a Judaism that was so superficial, so external, and so what's that word? And so ritualistic, right? I'm only connecting to the ritual itself, but whatever, the Eastern religions are so much deeper. And we're speaking about yin and yang, we're talking about chi, and we're talking about inner chakras, and Jews are attracted to that. Why? Because they do exist. Because at the end of the day, we live in force fields of energy in which Kabbalah speaks about. But when you blind the Jew, when you blind the soul from Plinius, we said this 2 weeks ago. Yeah? Pardes is Pshat, Remez, Drush, Soid. Yeah? When you only learn the Pshat, Remez, Drush, I'm speaking about in Torah. But you sever the orchard of Torah from the essence, which is the Soid. You have Pirud, you have separation. And then the Jew has separation anxiety. From what? From the inner purpose, from the Kabbalah, from the Chassidus. Now, I'm now going even deeper and saying, what happens, Chas v'shalom, and it's not Chas v'shalom, it's a reality, that you learn Kabbalah and Chassidus and you still don't find meaning. Oh, then you're really messed up. And this is our generation. We're speaking about the kids of Balei Tshuva, right? Who now were manufactured in systems of Chabad. I'm getting political now, yeah? of Chabad. And what? And they come out, 20, 30 years old, and they don't have a relationship with God also. It's not a done deal. It's not automatic that all of a sudden you come and you subscribe. I'm not only speaking about Balei Tshuva, I'm speaking about people who grew up, who have a Chabad name from 100 years, 200 years, whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's not automatic. It's all work. And at the end of the day, we need to make the choice, is this meaningful for me? And if it's not, how do I make it meaningful to me? Because I cannot rely on my parents' Judaism. I cannot even rely on my own Judaism from my childhood, that I was, happy-go-lucky, and just yeah, of course, matzah, mar, I see my kids, it's beautiful. We clap our hands and we say, Manishtana alayla zen, it's so cute and it's so awesome. And there is a pshitus. I'm not chas v'shalom denying the beauty and the simplicity of the child. But at the end of the day, our brains don't stay childlike. We all mature and we are all exposed to something in this world that will inevitably be much more attractive to us than this, if we don't invest ourselves in this. That is the reality. So the Rebbe is challenging us and saying, no, in our own identity, in who we are in our core, are you just, I'm frum, I'm religious, I do this, I do that? Or is it my essence? If it's my essence, if it's my identity, then I have to escape the trap of ever being limited to a secondary option of who I am as a person. Rather, my default personality is etzem, is the essence. Once I'm living on that level, again, I'm not saying we're all going to be perfect human beings, but again, it requires, I think, tremendous exploration, searching, seeking, and we're all doing it right now by even learning this. But at the end of the day, we're on a matara, we're in a direction, we have a target, that we're able to align ourselves with a deeper purpose. And we're not living for anybody else. We're living because we want to live. And this is what I think is the most amazing part of the Maamar. We're going to get to it, if ever. I will choose the king. He's going to get, the beginning of the Maamar focused a lot on the choice. It has to be you. Ana nasiv malka. I will choose the king. Yes, you're choosing God, but you're also choosing yourself as king and queen. I will choose myself. That's literally what I'm saying. I will choose myself in my core. But who is my core? Who am I in my true identity? I don't know. I have to go to India and I have to have the guy tell me I have to go to Eretz Yisrael, whatever. These famous stories of things. Oh. But at the end of the day, we are all on this journey, and we're all have to continuously ask ourselves, okay, what's my ikr? What's my tafel? Who am I in my core? What's my identity? If I don't know, am I making enough effort to know? Or am I just satisfied with the mediocre and status quo of life? And it's always much easier, as we just said the whole Maamar. The mediocre and status quo of life will always present itself much more readily accessible and much more abundant. So you can go 50, 60 years of your life. It's funny, Adin Steinsaltz, he himself, I think, grew up secular, Allah Shalom, and he became a Baal Tshuva, and he began teaching in the Knesset to the Knesset members Torah at the age of 20 years old. Okay? And I don't know, I forgot the details if maybe a mentor, he asked his mentor, what happens when they ask me my age? I don't know how he looked, But what happens when they ask me my age, and you're talking about people who are Rabbi Adin's senior, like there's 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, like what is this little guy coming to teach us? I think Adin asked it to his mentor. Maybe even to the Rebbe, I'm not sure. So the answer is so beautiful. He says, you're not 20 years old. You're 2,000 years old. Because what you're teaching, when you become so aligned to what you're teaching, you are transmitting Torah. And Torah is 2,000 years old. So you're much older than all of them. So I have nothing to worry about. You're just a vehicle. You're just a communicator of divine wisdom. And being that your body is now aligned with your soul, which is understanding divine wisdom, you're much older than them. And with this, the covered Yud Nisan, that I imagine there's a few people in the room who will ask a person on the street if they're Jewish or not. How can you ask a person, did you put on tefillin today? Did you light Shabbos candles? Do you want to do a mitzvah? And who did the Rebbe implore? Who did the Rebbe encourage to do it? Mamash, the youth. When you're 13, 14, 15, and you look, how can this little kid walk into a building? The guy's running a company, a CEO, okay? And I've seen it. I've literally seen it with myself and with my friends and with people much younger. And without any new ananasiv malka. He's not distracted by the money. He's not distracted by the art. He's not distracted by the food. A person who's a little older, that's why the Rebbe chose the youth. They don't know about it. The kids don't know about it. You tell them, put on tefillin on this guy. He's a billionaire. Excuse me, I see Goldberg. Oh, the secretary says, do you have an appointment? No, what do I need an appointment? Okay, wait here. I've literally seen it. Wait here on the bench. Okay, he's waiting 20 minutes. What do you need? It's like, I have a gift for I have a gift. I'm a friend. Whatever. A little white lie. Gets in the office. What are you doing here? I have a special gift. It's called tefillin. Would you like to put on? He's like, no, I'm not making a donation. No donations. No donations. Straps him up. Finished. Who are you to approach the king? But you are the king. I'm choosing myself. I'm crowning myself to be the best version of self and to not give a whatever about any of the other things that could coerce me and could lure me. And I'm just going straight in. So, excuse me, are you Jewish? Is the most profound expression of the essence of who you are and revealing the essence of who they are. And you're giving an opportunity to reveal the essence of who they are. What greater alignment and synchronization between body and soul, mind and heart than that? And at the end of the day, that's called the ikr, not the tafel. You gave this person, if it was 1 minute, 2 minutes, of an opportunity to connect to their soul, which, like we said, is hard. He has to stop his business. He has to actually take you seriously. But how many women and how many men have I personally seen in my life? The tears start coming down. And they start, and I blew shofar for an old grandmother, maybe in her 80s, and a young girl on Melrose, Pasha crying like crazy. Paruski. Only the Russians cry. Yeah? No, that's not true. The Persians cry also. People cry. What are tears? Tears are an expression of the soul that the body is not able to hold on to anymore. That's what the Rebbe teaches us, tears. So at the end of the day, you're making a person reveal a deeper layer of their soul. It's very hard. The Rebbe speaks, there's this amazing sikha of the psychology, and I'm talking to myself now, the psychology of the difficulty that goes into asking a person, are you Jewish?
Nice. Where is that?
Amazing sikha. Is in the beginning years of when the Rebbe was encouraging tefillin. I have to find it. But the Rebbe says, and you're going to ask yourself, it's so embarrassing, because what happens if they say, I'm not Jewish, and this is what you feel, I'm not, that you're asking for, are you Jewish? And the Rebbe says, don't worry. Because at the end of the day, if they ask you why, you'll say, I want to do a good deed with this person. And I want to connect the person to their heritage. The Goy will say, wow, that's so beautiful. It's only the Goy that will say beautiful. Yeah? And then the Yid, whatever happens to the Yid that says no? So what did you do? This is a famous thing. You planted a seed that the next time he'll say yes. And he'll walk away thinking, why did I say no to that 14-year-old kid? What did he actually want of me other than 2 minutes of my time? And do I actually have, and the Rebbe is mamish vocalizing this, he's verbally communicating. And do I actually have a true relationship with my soul? And he'll start thinking all these things just by your question, excuse me, are you Jewish? Wow. So don't think that it's for naught, and don't think that it's insignificant, meaning to say, I didn't, and a Bachrim come back, I don't know if it's for girls, but Bachrim are literally obsessed with like, how many did you get? Everything becomes a number game. And it's also a very superficial thing, and it's cute, but at the end of the day, it's like,
It's for the dog.
Yeah, but and for those who come back with 0, it's not about how many did you get, it's how many did you ask. Okay? It's not 0 and I asked 0. It's 0, but I asked 20 people. I gave 20 people Jewish guilt trip that day. Awesome.
It's actually interesting because it's like also in sports, the most important kind of aspect of like winning or helping the team isn't necessarily something that you can take a statistic.
Hustle plays.
Yeah, something like that. Like they try and come up with new statistics, besides just scoring or assists or whatever. But sometimes it's just the person's presence on the court.
Right. Wow. Beautiful.
So too, sometimes like when the guys would come back from Mitsoyim and they would ask the Rebbe, like, we didn't even see a single Jew, and he would tell them there was a woman in the corner that happened to just see you. Yeah. Just your presence in that place.
She wrote to the Rebbe. She wrote to the Rebbe. There was Bachrim that came back. I think it was from in Boston. They went on America Shlichus. They came back. They said literally no peiros, no fruits of our labor, no mezuzahs, no nothing. They were mamish dejected. And the Rebbe spoke by Fabringen. You could hear it on tape. I don't know if it's. You could hear it on tape. I don't know if it's I don't think there was a video.
He talks about that back to basics.
Oh yeah, but you could hear the Rebbe say it's with translation. And the Rebbe says, I received a letter from a woman who said that I imagine these are some of your constituents, and they were wearing beards, and they had black hats, and they looked religious, and it reminded me of, and again, this may seem far-fetched, but it actually did happen. And they reminded me of my grandfather, who looked the same way, and it reminded me of my grandmother, who would light Shabbos candles, so then I started to light, and this was happening all because what? Nothing, because of what they were wearing. The Rebbe says also about talucha, right? The movement, it's not to necessarily rejoice with other Jews in shul, but rather the streets themselves should rejoice that other Gentiles should see Jews moving. The movement of talucha, it's amazing.
What's talucha mean?
Talucha means when in Yom Tov, Rebbe would ask for Chabad people to go to different shuls and make them a simcha. Either to say Divrei Torah there, or for Simchas Torah to dance with them. So some shuls hate it, and some shuls love it.
Many religions.
Different sects of Judaism appreciate it. Have you ever been on Talucha? Not yet. Okay.
Well, only on Simchas Torah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you want to.
On Shavuos or on
this week, Pesach.
Pesach we go. Shvi Shal Pesach. Shvi Shal Pesach. Shvi Shal Pesach we go. Shvi Shal Pesach we go. Yeah. Shavuos we go second day. And Simchas Torah.
I thought only Simchas Torah.
No, all the three.
Simchas Torah is the best one.
The Shalosh Regal?
Yeah, Shalosh Regal. That's when the Rebbe said Talucha. Also Regel Talucha, right? Yeah, Simchas Torah is the easiest because it's like an excuse to go. The other ones, the Rebbe said you should speak in their shuls, and it's hard. You're like a little kid should organize.
You're saying that if the person understands that what they're offering is gold, then if they turn you down, it's like, oh, it's your loss.
Yes.
There's nothing to feel bad
No,
about.
nothing, zero.
Like I went on Friday, I was in Prospect Park, and I asked a lady if she's Jewish, and she's like, I already have candles at home or whatever. And then I felt so uncomfortable that I asked her, because I was like, shoot, she was trying to have meditation time, and I totally messed everything up. And now I sent her on a Jewish guilt trip.
So imagine,
but
maybe I'm saying something
if I believe what I'm offering to her is really valuable, then I don't feel embarrassed.
And I'm not imposing it on your belief. It's a challenge and an avoida for us to actually come to a realization that this is the truth. And again, I'm talking to myself that I'm besimcha. I'm besimcha. Now again, you could also have a nagging person and a person's on their cell phone. And I think there's also a seichel to it too. Mm-hmm. But if you're innocent, right? If you're doing it in an innocent form and you're not there to just get the numbers and you're menschlich, then I don't think there's anything to be embarrassed about. I imagine there's also Jews. I literally chased a guy with my shofar.
Wait, why are you not imposing?
Why was I chasing him? Because he was running. Yeah.
Why are you not imposing on someone when you're asking?
Because at the end of the day,
you're hitting their etzem.
The klipa is thick, and you have to be. And you want to guilt them enough that they will want to do it next time and not want to.
Sometimes it's a love-hate relationship.
You
they
can't.
Want you to run after them.
Listen, I've been with people.
Because you really believe that they want it.
I've been with people that engage in conversation with me. Absolutely not, no way. And after 20 minutes, they did. After 20 minutes, they didn't. But at the end of the day, I felt accomplished in the little that I gave over of just understanding. And by the way, sometimes it's that. My friends would make fun of me. I'm literally doing that with Goyim. It's like, oh, why are you doing that? But at the end of the day, the Rebbe says, Sheva mitzvahs b'nei, which is a whole other game plan. But even with a Jew who's vehemently not going to put on or to accept the candles, whatever it is, at the end of the day, the conversation itself evokes the spark that who's to know. And the Rebbe says, how do we merit Mashiach? We're such a low generation. So he's going mashal like a we can't say midget anymore because politically correct. So we have to say little people. Like little people, I'm in tune with the political correctness. Like little people standing on the shoulders of giants. What does that mean? That means that our mitzvahs are not an isolated experience. We are conduits of thousands of years of the production of Judaism. And we happen to be the finale. So don't ever think that the accomplishment is on your own, but rather it's coming from history. History is on our side. So don't ever think that your request of them accepting Shabbos candles or your request of putting on tefillin is an isolated event. Rather, if we believe in the wholesomeness of Hashem's hashgacha pratis, we'll hope that I'm just part of a bigger system, right? I'm just part of a bigger painting, and I'm just stroking my brush here. And at the end of the day, this is going to helpfully help and invest in his connection in another way.
You could even take it further. Like if the girl says, "Yeah, I already have candles," so you tell her before you light, send a selfie to a friend and encourage someone else to light also.
Right, that could be too. That's beautiful. That's amazing. That's so nice. Maybe you have a friend in your building. Yeah. Weiter. Okay. See, we said we have to fabring also. Move on from this. It's understood. The kasher who boicher be'agulim de Gan Eden. There are some Jews that have chosen in the revelations of Gan Eden, and they are inexplicably incomparable to the essence and being of the infinite light of Hashem. But why are they choosing it? If they know themselves that there's a luminary and not just the light, because the light is so much better. Because the light is so much more easily accessible.